You know, I was so sure that this character was going to get buffed eventually, but now I feel like we might be waiting forever. I'm not going to flake on her anyway, though. I just like her too much, witchcraft and vampires and demons and stuff like that. It's the kind of shit that I love. And so even if she doesn't have any lows, I would summon Eliza into my life any day. And then she would be like, Master, should we fuck up online or just make passionate love until I have lactic acid in my labia? And I would be like, whoa, chill. But both, please. But I was just practicing dive kicks and I got the news that the main producer of Tekken has quit social media, or at least Twitter, over the backlash after these recent Mishima buffs. It's not really the Mishima buffs, I guess. That's more like the straw that broke the camel's back. We've had all kinds of controversies with $4 Gate and Leroy Gate and so on. And apparently it's gotten so bad now that they want to shut the door on us. And I know people are gonna ask me how I feel about that, and I'm not sure how I feel about that, so I thought I'll turn on my microphone and we'll talk about it and maybe figure out how I feel about that. I guess the first thing I should answer is whether or not I think the online Tekken community is toxic or overly negative or difficult to deal with, and I have to say that in my own experience, definitely not. I mean, I make some stupid shit on this channel. I've made some dumb videos, but I still have 98% positive feedback across everything I've made. You guys are super cool with me, and when there is some like savagery in the comments, it's usually in the shape of humor. There's some trolling going on back and forth, and that's the kind of stuff that I love. It's just part of the experience that makes it even more enjoyable. So yeah, that's my experience. I know some people think very differently on this. Prominent people who have larger audiences than I, streamers, content creators, people who actually work on the game. And I guess that's fair enough. But at least in my own experience, you guys are super cool to get to deal with. I will say that I think many of the choices that have been made by the development team recently, going quite far back now, honestly, especially in terms of balancing, have been strange. And I've made content about it. I've made jokes about it. And I also think that some of the responses that have been given to that have been unnecessarily petty and combative. But I'm still, I think, mainly sad about how the whole thing sort of went down because we made that episode of Wave Dash, our podcast, 2 days ago, me and 5 other guys, and thank you so much for watching that, by the way. Man, that was so much fun. Great episode. We had good energy, we had a lot of fun, time flew by, people were being cool in the chat, and then it went up on YouTube, and the response has just been amazing, so we're going to keep on making them. But there you go, that's proof, it doesn't have to be difficult or negative to deal with the online Tekken community. But then again, I guess we're just talking about the game, we're not making it, so maybe that's different. But before we started recording the episode, we were talking about this with the negativity. The quitting Twitter thing hadn't really happened yet, but there was a lot of negativity, and we were like, should we talk about it? Should we talk about this person who seems to be at the center of a lot of it? And I said almost immediately, I think we should mention the name as little as possible, because it's so obviously just a person who's the figurehead of an organization of a bunch of people, who has the unfortunate job of having to be the one who receives all of the community feedback, even when it's negative. And I get that some of that's self-inflicted. If you look at some of the communications that have been made, with the wording and stuff, there's a way to do it and a way not to do it. But the very few times, it's rare for me, but when I have uploaded something where there's been a bunch of negative feedback right away, that can be really scary, honestly. I'm pretty good at dealing with it. I don't mind it that much, but I get how if you're not very thick-skinned, that could cause a lot of anxiety, especially when it's tens of thousands of people all over the world. And so I didn't get that frustrated with these like tweets and statements, because I always assumed that they didn't come from a place of like arrogance. It always looked more like sort of panic and fear and anxiety to me, an attempt to make oneself feel better because of something dark happening around them. But that's just my guess, So, I mean, I disagree with many of the choices that have been made. I think many of the statements have been like blunt and poorly worded, but I also don't think that we should be bullying or going after specific people. I mean, some of the comments I've seen haven't even been, about the game. It's like what the guy looks like in his face and stuff, and that's the point where I draw the line, when it starts to feel a bit like bullying to me. But if I had to come down on a side in this, and that's maybe an unnecessary simplification of the whole thing, I definitely come down on the side of the community, because I think that they can be supportive. I think they know a lot about the game, and I think that the majority of the mistakes have been made, on the development side. But it's also sad because I think we were heading in a really cool direction for a while. When I started out with this game, there was nothing from the developers, but now we have, when a balance patch comes out, there's a bunch of notes, relatively comprehensive at least, but they use like fighting game jargon. They're using our own language to explain the changes to us, which I thought was a trip and pretty cool. And we have the frame data app in the game. It does cost money, but it is there and it is extremely useful if you want it. And then we had that beautiful video a while ago where some of the people from the tech and development team were talking about the process of bringing Falcom Rom and Leroy to life, and that went up in Japanese. I translated it to English and uploaded it on my channel because I knew a lot of people were frustrated, but I wanted to share this thing and show that there's a lot of love and passion still going into the making of this game. But they eventually uploaded their own translated version, and I think most people who are interested have seen it at this point. So yeah, I think it was a train heading in the right direction, but because of these strange balancing choices over and over, that train has gotten derailed, and I don't know what that means for the future of the game. It's kind of worrying. I don't know what it means when one of the main people in charge of a game probably doesn't enjoy going to work in the morning, doesn't enjoy the community that everybody's creating for. Maybe it won't have a large impact. Maybe it, will change the way content comes out and what content comes out. I just feel like it's kind of sad and unfortunate, in the end. I guess that's pretty much how I feel about the whole situation. And I'm, as always, very interested in knowing how you feel about this. So please let me know. But yeah, just kind of unfortunate and sad. And I hope, I was hoping it didn't come to this eventually, but it was also not really that difficult to predict. Thank you so much for watching this. I'll see you guys again very soon.